You ever wake up, open Instagram, and suddenly feel like you've just been slapped across the face with a scandal so wild, so raw, so absolutely unhinged that you have to blink twice and ask, is this real life or a new episode of Love and Hip? Hop on acid. Well, buckle up, because Saucy Santana just dropped a bomb so explosive, so devastating, that the internet might never recover. We're talking tears, betrayal, medical bombshells, and a best friend turned anomie who clearly didn't. Come to play he came to expose. And the target? None other than his former BFF and city girl queen, Young Miami. That's right, one blurred out IG story. One ruthless caption, and suddenly the whole world is whispering the same thing. Did Saucy just out Young Miami's HIV status to the public? Like what? How did we go from clubbing in Balenciagas to courtroom confessions and public humiliation in 4K? And is this the end of a friendship war, the beginning of a legal war? Y'all, this ain't just messy. This is radioactive. Stick around, because the receipts, the reactions, and the repercussions will leave your jaw on the floor. Let's get into it. Now, let's rewind this hot mess and unpack how we even got here, because nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this one coming. Just a few months ago, Saucy Santana and Young Miami were twerking on yachts, laughing in each other's faces, on IG Live, and making us all wish we had a ride-or-die friendship like theirs. But behind the flashy designer fits and filtered selfies was a slow-burning fallout that nobody picked up on until it exploded like a nuclear bomb in June 2025. And trust, this wasn't your average influencer unfollowing drama. This was something far darker, far deeper, and far more dangerous. It started with whispers, a few passive-aggressive tweets here and there, some noticeable distance at public events, and then boom, out of nowhere, Santana drops the most shocking IG story of the year. A dimly lit photo, the corner of a face, some medical paperwork slightly blurred out, and the caption, three simple words that flipped the internet upside down: positive, not negative. The internet went into cardiac arrest within minutes. Was he talking about himself or someone else? And if it was someone else, who was he targeting? Because the timing, the image, and the subtle context pointed straight to one person: Young Miami. People started connecting dots faster than the FBI. Just a week before the post, Santana was spotted leaving a high-profile medical facility in LA, wearing a hoodie pulled low and looking like he had seen a ghost. Then just days after that, fans noticed that he and Miami were no longer following each other on socials. And not only that, but all of their past content together had mysteriously disappeared, wiped clean like they had never even existed in each other's lives. The speculation was instant, but nobody expected what came next. Within 48 hours of the story going live, anonymous DMIs began flooding gossip pages claiming that Saucy had allegedly exposed Miami's HIV status after a private medical argument spiraled out of control. One source wrote, in quote, "Saucy felt betrayed and he wanted the world to see her how he sees her," unquote. While another claimed Santana had proof of a recent diagnosis that Miami was hiding from the public and from her lovers. And just like that, the internet imploded. Twitter threads, Reddit deep dives, YouTube live streams. Everything went into overdrive as fans tried to separate fact from fiction, while the main players stayed completely silent. But it didn't stop there. The story got darker and more twisted with every passing hour. A leaked voice memo hit the blogs allegedly featuring Santana ranting to a close friend, saying, and I quote, "She sat there in my face and lied while knowing what she had, like, I'm just supposed to pretend like that? Don't put me at risk, too. That's not a friend, that's a criminal." That audio clip, whether real or not, sent shockwaves across the culture. Fans were gagged, journalists were scrambling, and celebrities were quietly unfollowing Miami one by one. But it wasn't just her reputation at stake. Legal experts began chiming in, warning that if the allegations were true and Miami knowingly put others at risk while withholding her status, she could be facing serious legal consequences. And remember, Young Miami is not just a city girl, she's a brand she's got, endorsements, beauty deals, her own talk show, and a massive online following, all of which started shaking like a Jenga tower on its last leg. Her management team reportedly went into full lockdown mode, yanking interviews, canceling appearances, and trying to control the narrative before the story could spin even further out of control. But the damage was already done. Screenshots of texts allegedly between Santana and an unnamed third party began circulating where he wrote, "I told her to tell the truth or I would, and she didn't, so I did." Fans were divided, some praising Santana for being brave and protecting himself, others dragging him for being messy, vindictive, and reckless with someone's personal health information. One user wrote, and I quote, "Outing someone's status is never okay, no matter how mad you are, it's giving attention seeker," unquote. While another said, "If this is true, Miami is playing a dangerous game with people's lives." And in the middle of this chaos, young Miami stayed silent. No posts, no tweets, no statements, just digital crickets. For a woman who never backs down from drama and is known for clapping back in 0.5 seconds. That silence was louder than a scream. Speculation grew that she was either preparing to sue Santana for defamation or had gone underground due to a potential federal inquiry into whether she had violated any health disclosure laws. One viral post even claimed she had flown to a private island with a legal team to avoid press and subpoenas. And while all this was happening, Santana was doubling down. Instead of apologizing or clarifying, he started posting cryptic captions. Like, "Y'all better check the receipts, and I warned her and she thought I was playing." It was like watching someone light a match and then pour gasoline on the entire internet. The blogs were eating it up, fans were foaming at the mouth, and everyone wanted one thing: answers, but none came. Just more rumors, more stories, more chaos. An ex of young Miami came forward anonymously claiming he had no idea about her alleged status and was seeking legal counsel. Another influencer hinted that this wasn't even the worst secret she was hiding. Meanwhile, fans dug up old clips of Santana and Miami where tension now seemed obvious through a different lens. Side-eye moments, fake laughs, awkward silences that we all missed at the time but now felt like huge red flags. What happened to the friendship that gave us iconic quotes, hilarious clapbacks, and matching designer outfits? Now it felt like it was always one fake smile away from combustion. Was Santana holding this secret as leverage the whole time? Or did something recently snap inside him that made him go full scorched earth? And if this was just the first blow, what else was waiting to drop? Because it suddenly felt like this was only the tip of the iceberg, and everyone online was bracing for the next shockwave, like soldiers before a war siren. What made everything worse was that no one knew who to believe anymore, because while Santana was busy fanning the flames young, Miami's silence started to morph from confusion into something far more unsettling as insiders close to her began leaking cryptic messages suggesting she was not just heartbroken but deeply afraid. Afraid of what might come out next. Afraid of who might turn on her. And afraid that this one scandal could unravel everything she had spent years building and behind. Closed doors, whispers turned into rumors, and rumors turned into narratives, painting a picture of a woman backed into a corner. Not just by Saucy Santana, but by a growing list of former friends and insiders suddenly finding their courage, or maybe just their moment in the spotlight, and one by one, they began speaking out. Not publicly, but through anonymous DMs, tips sent to gossip blogs, voice notes landing in inboxes like time bombs, ready to detonate, and the stories started to grow tentacles, reaching into places no one expected, linking young Miami to wild stories from the Diddy era, hush-hush parties, NDAs, strange disappearances, and high-profile figures who had conveniently stayed silent until now. And the claims weren't just about the alleged diagnosis, but about the environment that allegedly protected it. Protected her behavior and enabled a culture of silence around it all. And then came the biggest jaw-dropper, yet a mysterious folder sent anonymously to a popular YouTube T-Channel, known for its deep dives and dangerous receipts inside, allegedly were screenshots of confidential medical records with Miami's legal name circled in red, alongside doctors' notes and prescription summaries, indicating ongoing treatment for a chronic viral condition the host blurred the documents for legal reasons, but the damage was done. The visual alone was enough to send the internet into another frenzy, as thousands began demanding the truth with hashtags like "she needs to explain" and "City Girls not safe anymore," going viral overnight while fans and critics clashed in the comments section like it was digital warfare. But while the fans fought among themselves, Santana remained eerily calm, posting selfies, smiling at brunch in head-to-toe Gucci, like he didn't just set a whole friendship and career on fire with one Instagram story. And that nonchalance infuriated people even more, because if this was true, how could he be so smug? And if it was fake, then how dare he ruin someone's life over petty beef? Either way, the public wasn't getting answers, only more questions. And then came the influencer expose. A TikTok creator with a growing reputation for catching celebs in lies uploaded a deep dive, compiling every single hint from Santana's past 2 years of tweets, IG lives, and interviews, pointing to resentment, jealousy, and subtle digs at Miami, many of which had gone unnoticed at the time, but now in hindsight read like warning signs in flashing neon. And the video hit 1 million views in under 12 hours, sparking a new wave of speculation. Was this really about health, or was this about hurt, pride, betrayal, ego, and a desperate attempt to reclaim power in a friendship that had become lopsided over time? One source close to both said, and I quote, "Saucy felt like he was her accessory, like her gay clown, and he finally snapped," unquote. Others claimed he'd been trying to pitch his own show for months, but industry insiders weren't biting unless he had scandal to sell. And this was premium grade scandal with a side of potential legal chaos. And while Santana basked in the attention, some fans started digging into his past, to resurfacing his own problematic statements and throwing his credibility into question. Old tweets resurfaced where he joked about lying in arguments for clout, and even one disturbing clip from an old Biggie live where he said, "I know where all the bodies are buried, and if I go down, we all go down," which now felt like a prophecy wrapped in designer and delivered with petty fury. But still, through it all, young Miami remained silent, and that silence was starting to eat away at her fan base, because the longer she stayed quiet, the more control she lost over the narrative. And suddenly brands began distancing themselves, with one makeup company quietly removing her face from their promo materials, and fans began noticing a sudden drop in engagement on her platforms, as if the digital world itself was holding its breath, waiting for her to say something, anything, and still nothing. And behind the scenes, it was rumored her legal team had advised total silence while they assessed the damage and possibly prepared a countersuit for defamation, invasion of privacy, and emotional distress. One unnamed lawyer claimed that if Santana had obtained any of the alleged documents without her consent, he could be looking at serious legal consequences. But if the documents were real and Miami hadn't disclosed her status to past partners, then she could be facing charges in multiple states depending on the timeline. And that kind of heat could scorch not just her career, but the entire City Girls brand. And in a matter of days, what began as one blurry IG story had morphed into a high-stakes scandal that reached from social media into courtrooms and possibly even federal investigations. And just when things couldn't get messier, another voice memo leaked, this time allegedly featuring Santana laughing while describing the moment he found out about Miami's diagnosis, saying she cried, begged me not to tell anyone, but I told her we not friends no more, so what am I protecting? And while the authenticity of the recording was never confirmed, the damage was instant. The clip went viral, sparking outrage, heartbreak, and division among fans. Some calling him a monster, others calling him a whistleblower, and all of it feeding a media circus that kept spinning faster with every new whisper. And the streets were talking, the blogs were boiling, and everyone was watching this play out like a live episode of betrayal The series, because this wasn't just gossip anymore. This was personal, this was public, this was nuclear, and nobody knew what was coming next, but they knew it wasn't over, not even close, and all eyes were still locked in, waiting for one of them to finally break the silence before someone else did it for them and buried them both in the process. So as the court of public opinion blew up with theories, reactions, memes, and think pieces, young Miami did something nobody expected. She disappeared completely, like wiped off the grid. Not a single tweet, not a single IG story, not even a shady like or comment, and for someone who lives and breathes through social media, silence was the loudest scream. The blogs went into overdrive, alleging everything from a secret hospitalization to her prepping a press conference. Even close sources claimed she was devastated, not because of the actual status, but because of who said it and how it was done, according to someone allegedly in her team. Saucy was the only person she confided in about her test scare, and that moment was supposed to stay buried, locked in a vault that only best friends know how to keep. So for him to flip that into an online insult for clout was worse than betrayal. It was emotional assassination. The rumors of Saucy doing it for attention hit even harder when video footage emerged of him partying the very same night with influencers who were known for exploiting celebrity beefs for content. He was seen laughing, sipping champagne, posing for flicks, like he hadn't just set his friend's life on fire. And to make things even more chaotic, an anonymous audio clip dropped online purporting to be a recorded conversation between Saucy and another person plotting how to stir drama to boost a new track, The Voice, which allegedly matches Saucy's. Could be heard saying he was going to use a little fire to get his name trending again, and then boom, the track would drop. Now, no one's confirmed the authenticity of the audio, but let's just say the streets believed it. The timing, the tone, the calculated nature of it all made it feel a little too real, and if it is real, we're talking about one of the dirtiest marketing stunts in modern pop culture, weaponizing someone's medical vulnerability to score clicks and streams. This isn't just messy, it's monstrous. The internet did not take it lightly. Petitions started floating around demanding platforms remove Saucy's music, while others called on his sponsors to cut ties. His recent shoe collaboration was quietly removed from a major retail site. Fans began flooding the brand's comment sections, accusing them of supporting someone who exposed someone else's health status for clout, and whether the accusations were 100% provable or not, the damage was already done, even as Saucy tried to backpedal with an emotional Instagram Live where he denied the claims, cried on camera, and blamed the devil. The public wasn't buying it. They saw a man who went too far and got caught. The tears didn't cleanse the betrayal for many people, especially in communities impacted by HIV, where stigma and secrecy still run deep. This moment wasn't just about gossip, it was a trigger. It was personal. The layers to this were deeper than just spilled tea. It opened up a conversation about boundaries, fame, and how quick people are to weaponize private information in the digital age. And as the dust settled, something even more shocking happened. Young Miami returned, but not with a clapback, not with a diss track, not with a lawsuit, but with a single haunting post, a black screen with white letters that simply read, "Some people will sell your soul just to buy a moment of attention. That's it, that's all. No caption, no name drop, no tags, just that." And the internet imploded. Thousands of comments poured in, fans praising her grace, her strength, her ability to address the betrayal without stooping low. Even verified celebrities started reposting the message. It became a viral quote overnight, turned into merch, memes, and think pieces, all interpreting the silent strength of a woman who'd been hurt beyond words but still found a way to speak. And perhaps that's where the true power shift happened. While Saucy scrambled trying to recover his image, Miami ascended emotionally, spiritually, culturally. She didn't have to scream. She let the truth do that for her, and that's when a twist came from the industry itself. A producer who had worked with both of them anonymously reached out to a gossip blog and claimed that this wasn't the first time Saucy had pulled something like this. Apparently, he had a reputation behind the scenes for using sensitive information too. Manipulate friendships and boost visibility. The source alleged that several artists had distanced themselves quietly because they couldn't trust him off camera. And if that's true, then this whole thing wasn't a one-time messy moment. It was a pattern finally exposed on the grandest stage possible, and the question now is, can he come back from this? Because in the age of receipts, accountability, and public opinion, sometimes, just isn't enough. And even though cancel culture is a revolving door and people forget quickly, this feels different. The scar is deeper, the betrayal sharper, and the silence from Young Miami more powerful than any diss track ever could be. So while the world keeps watching and waiting to see if a real apology comes, or if more leaks surface, or if someone finally takes legal action, one thing is for certain: this moment will live forever on the internet as the day clout chasing went too far and best friendship died in front of millions. So now the question is simple but explosive: what do you believe? Is Saucy Santana out here exposing private medical truths out of spite? Or is this a twisted PR stunt that spiraled way too far? Is Young Miami a victim of betrayal? Or is there something even deeper boiling beneath the surface that we still haven't uncovered? Yet, this isn't just celebrity drama anymore. It's a full-blown cultural earthquake, and we're all standing at the fault line. One thing's for sure: the truth is never what it seems in this world of fame, filters, and fake friends. But we want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now and don't hold back. Do you think this friendship was doomed from the jump, or is there still a chance at redemption? If you're as shook as we are and you want the real behind-the-scenes breakdowns before they hit the mainstream, then hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because trust me, the next chapter in this saga is coming and you do not want to miss it. This story is far from over, and you know we'll be right here when it blows up again. And